Hello everyone, welcome to another video, and today we're going to be talking about something that a lot of people have asked me about, and it's about how to develop good game sense in Bedwars. And just a disclaimer, obviously game sense is pretty much something that you develop across over practice and time, but here's just a few things you can point out and things you need to look for when you're developing your game sense that can help speed it up or just help you know what to look for. So I hope you enjoy this video, and it's one that I've been wanting to make for a while, so I really hope you enjoy it. I put a bit of effort into this and hope you enjoy. So the first thing you need to know when you're playing Bedwars, and keep in mind we're going to be focusing on solo Bedwars specifically, is what map you're playing on. There's always different strategies for each map, a unique strategy, and for this, I will plug in my map specific strategies guide that I wrote on the forums. It'll be in the description, so please check that out. It's one I put a lot of effort into, and it's a very good guide, very popular. So that'll help you with your strategies for each map, but that's just for the map part. So for this guide, we're just going to start off by playing on Lighthouse, which is just a balanced, good grinding map, and I will talk about the different things you need to look for in the when we're in game. First thing you need to know about is where to rush and how you should rush. So obviously when you're in a game of Bedwars, your main aim is obviously to win, but to win what you need to do is put yourself in a position of power, so where you have a lot of choices and your opponents are basically at your mercy, and they have very few choices, or best is if they just have one choice, and once you become really good you want to try and make that one choice they have pretty bad. So obviously Bedwars is all about control, and control, what you need to work on is speed and consistency. You don't want to do something really dumb, but you also want to be fast and speedy. So what I did there was 32 rush, since that I believe, or even 48 rushing, since you get to put a bed defense if you're lower skilled. That is probably the most effective rush, since your opponent hasn't got a good defense down and is basically at a bit slower than you, so you have the advantage. So now we need to learn about where we should rush next. Most people will just mindlessly keep rushing, but we need to take a look at where we should rush. So in this situation, we have eliminated our neighbor, and in basically every single Bedwars game, and more specifically so on Speedway or in Airshow, and those sectioned off matches, you want to go for something called your natural rush. So this is something that actually Talent in his guide, who's a really good Bedwars player, made up, but I'm just going to refer to it as that, your natural rush. So you need to go for a person who's also eliminated their neighbor. Sometimes this can be cross mapping, but most times if no one has eliminated their neighbor, I'll go back to my base and gear up, get iron armor and stone sword at a minimum, and blocks. So now we can see white has taken out their neighbor while red and blue are still fighting. So we're going to go for white through the diamond generator. So in a case that red has eliminated blue and aqua eliminated white, which team would you go for? The answer would be, you'd always want to try and see which is the more aggressive team, which team is already going for you. And most of the time that'll be the team that is rushed in your direction. So obviously when white team has taken over aqua team, but blue has taken red, blue is rushing in that direction, but white is rushing in that direction, so white is more likely to go for you next. So obviously white has already bridged to the diamond generator, so we're going to be bridging to the diamond generator. Keep in mind I'm not playing completely normal, of course I'm focusing on my commentary, so I'm just going to play smart. Don't bridge up because the white player can knock you off. Obviously with game sense you also need to be good with your PvP. You need to know what to do when, since Bedwars isn't all about PvP. It's also about knowing how to PvP, so take advantage of the terrain, that kind of thing. Now, I lost my bed there, but I'm trying to focus on my commentary, but if you saw what I was trying to do, you can observe how when he was going to break my bed, I can't really stop him. He was going to break this block, I wanted to fill this block back in. So when he broke it, I would have filled it back in, so he wouldn't have been able to break my bed. That's a good strategy that a lot of people try, and I believe is quite an effective strategy to stop people from breaking your bed if you can do it right. Obviously I have a high ping, so in my case it doesn't work as well, but it has worked for me sometimes. So we're going to get fireballs, always with game sense. You need to know what items to buy when as well. So in this case, I'm getting fireballs, but also be careful since you can be fireballed. Now I know that in my base, I've already taken the resources, so it's unlikely that he has enough iron for a fireball, which is why I kept going with that rush. If I didn't take the resources from my base at yellow, then I probably would be more hesitant since he is likely to have a fireball. Since whenever people have a surplus of iron, they're more likely to get a fireball. So now we have fireballs. White is fairly enough behind us that we can now go and take this road to his bed. My speed bridge, don't speed bridge that fast obviously when we don't have a bed, but now we have made it to white team and we can in fact take advantage and blow the bridge up. He hasn't fallen, he's getting fireballed by someone else and we can in fact fireball him right there. He's made it to our base but he's low and I've pretty well geared and he just fell off right there. So that's us taking out his base out, and that's another thing, you need to know where to go when with game sense. There's a lot of elements to it. Obviously when I went to middle I recognized that white was following me and that going to emeralds, well, it's a bit more risky since he could attack me, so I bridged to his base, got rid of his bed and eliminated him before he could get too strong. So now we have a lot of gold, so we need to decide what to do here. You can get a ton of golden apples, but that's not really necessary, so take advantage of all your items. You can get TNT, but sometimes I think going for a bow is pretty useful. Keep in mind when people are coming close to rushing you, but I didn't do there, but that's obviously because I'm focusing. But yep, we killed grey team. We just have red team left, who is in fact right there, so we can buy some emeralds, get some pearls and other backup items. So if you don't have a bed, always go for the backups, pearls, stuff like that. They're more important than pots even. However, pots are also the second most useful thing you can buy with emeralds, since they allow you to have the element of surprise, which is very useful in fights. Often, even if you're versing like the best PvPer of all time, you have the element of surprise. He doesn't know where you are. That's gonna work for you. So now we have a bow. We're just gonna get some arrows. And 4 golden apples is enough. A lot of people just waste golden apples and it's completely unnecessary. So red is probably hiding behind that wall. So we've seen that he has had fireballs before, so it's likely that he has more fireballs. So what we need to do here is basically judge the best way to go. This is the safest option. This is a riskier option. We're not going to bridge that way since that is a suicidal option. So we need to see which way we want to go. If he's not there, which it's very likely that he's there judging on the fact that he has that wall placement, we are probably going to go further away. And remember, one rule with fireballs is, and now he's gone, so we can go this way. Fireballs become less effective with range because your aim worsens as the range increases with fireballs. So if you go to that base even and then bridge from there to there, it's more likely you could survive since he's more unlikely to be hitting you off. So now, since he went back to his base, I took the opportunity to go to middle. He doesn't seem to have any emeralds, which obviously emeralds give you invisibility, which is, we probably don't need a tracker. He's just going to be in that area right there. We don't really need to know where he is. So we're just going to get some emeralds and then buy potions. And another underrated aspect you can get is a diamond sword. Obviously when you're versing a great PvPer, the element of surprise gets you a bunch of the first hits on him. However, if he's really geared or stuff like that, a normal sword is not going to cut it. You should always try and get it. A diamond sword is very useful. I shouldn't say you always need to get it, but a diamond sword can be very useful in making sure those first few hits are enough to basically take him out. So he's still in that area. We aren't that worried since, honestly, obviously when range and Bedwars, you can't really see players from far away. You can see the blocks they place, so you can tell around which area they're in. So in this case, I don't think I will need a pearl with him since he doesn't seem like he's aware enough to notice. I'll just get invis and jump and a diamond sword. Not really necessary for him, but I think I'll just get it for just the sake of getting it. We'll get pearls, we have our arrows, we don't really need more things. Water bucket, there's not really much we're gonna need here. So I'm gonna evaluate how far we're gonna need to go. We probably don't, that's probably the furthest we will need to go, so I'm just gonna go to this diamond generator and then drink my invis since that's probably gonna last long enough. He may have bridged to that base. I'm just gonna Go here. Okay, so we can see his place blocks. Oh, I made a big mistake. He's over there. He's not anywhere near there. He's over there. We're just gonna go back this way. I may want to bring a bridge. Actually, no, we probably don't need a bridge. Oh, he's right there. So he followed me. Okay, so this makes things much easier since we know where he is. We can just drink this. Keep sight of his name tag. So obviously that was a big mistake on my part. This is how I probably could have lost the game. He is aware that I'm invisible. So we just need to wait for him to go inside the space. He's spamming fireballs. Alright guys, I hope that game was instructive and helpful. Do not do what I did at the end there, because remember, fireballs, they push you back at the same time, and when you're on the edge of something and you place a fireball in front of you, you're going to be knocked backwards. And basically what I did there was pretty dumb. Aside from that, I think the game was a win for us. We dodged his fireballs and his arrows. We dodged them pretty well. That was a bit of a risky move, but I did it anyway. But that was basically the only mistake. Had we not done that, I would have probably easily killed him. But basically, obviously you can tell with the format of this guide kind of thing, I'm just trying to play some games and talk about them, talking points, and explaining a few things you will need to learn. So for the next thing I'm going to be doing, I'm going to go to a completely different, slow-paced map. I'll still go to a good map, but nothing like Lighthouse. And we're going to go on Airshow, since this is a more passive map, more win streak oriented. Lighthouse is for quick wins, this is for slower but more guaranteed wins. And it's a different map structure, so I can talk about this and what you really need to do. Airshow is probably the most instructive kind of map to play on. It's the easiest in my opinion, because it's highest win rate and it's pretty simple to learn. So I think you should always play on Airshow if you have the chance to use the map selector. Obviously with random maps, still keep in some of these talking points, but try and adapt it to the maps you're on. Obviously if you're if you queue a bad map, you can just re-queue another map, but play Bedwars 8.1. And that, just keep doing that until you get on a good map. So in this game, I've forgotten to do something that I really wanted to show you. When you instantly get 4 iron, buy wool and immediately place the defense and bridge a short bridge and go back to your base. This basically speeds up your bridge and it already completes your defense. Because what I did here is I waited for the 16 and then I brought my 64, put the defense and started bridging. So that slowed me down a little, and obviously then you lose that speed. You don't have as much of a speed advantage. Obviously with this guy, it doesn't really matter. He's not really aware what he's doing. And I died because the server decided to die that second. But yeah, this is actually something you need to keep in mind. It's very important that you get your first rush out first try, because if you struggle with it, it increases the chance that you're going to be 2v1'd or attacked from other sides, or just lengthen your game and make it harder to win because the other people are more stacked. This is why you always want the speed advantage, you always want the high ground advantage. So you don't want to just go in. If you think you might struggle with your first rush, always try and gear up, because you want to try and get rid of them as quick as possible. So I got rid of them on my second try, which isn't that bad. But yeah, basically that's basically what you need to focus on. So we're gonna get some iron armor here, and since we are at a disadvantage in time, we're just gonna evaluate our best decision. Is it to go back to our base and get the trap, or is it to take the trap, go for more riskier play, and rush another team? White and pink already are still fighting. We just need to see what green's gonna do now. And green is rushing me, so we probably want to get rid of green first before white or pink finishes each other team, and then they could also rush us. So we're gonna go green here, since normally we would have enough time to get the trap and then rush one of these teams. We don't have that time this time, so we're gonna have to make a compromise. We have better gear than green, much better gear, so we just need to not fall off on the bridge, and we should be pretty fine. So green is obviously playing more aggressively since he wants to eliminate us on the bridge, because that's mainly his main chance at beating us. And he is basically rushing since he recognizes that if he stayed at his base, he is pretty much gone. So we can in fact buy a trap here, prot, sharp, store the iron sword since that's pretty expensive, and it's great if you can reuse it, recycle. And now we can just void, and green is coming for us, but now we are ready at our base. We can take this, get a golden apple, get wool, and we don't even need to go out since we have a trap. We can just stay in our base. He doesn't have a TNT, so we don't really need to be offensive in this situation. He wants us to come out and then knock us out. He may have a KB stick. Remember, KB sticks exist. So we just want to stay in front of him. Do not come on top of the bed defense. It's one of the big mistakes people make. And as you can see, he's tried to not abuse that, but take that to his advantage. And had he had better gear and I had worse gear, he probably would have killed me there and got rid of my bed. But thankfully, we were geared up pretty well. So remember, don't never go on the top of the bed defense. When you're in that kind of situation, it can cause a lot of trouble. And now, instead of just mindlessly taking this diamonds and getting Pro 2, like I was about to do, let's take a little look here. Aqua, and yellow are still fighting, and pink just got rid of white. So we have enough time to get this and then go back there, but without getting rushed. So we have Pro 2. Remember to go into your inventory and right-click this. I don't think it makes a difference, but I've never really tested it. I might test it later, but just do that. Obviously, if you're in a fighting situation where you need to get prot right now, you don't need to go into the inventory. Just get prot and try and complete the fight. Probably it doesn't make a difference. So in this case, aqua and yellow are still fighting. So what we want to do is get rid of pink, since pink is now a liability, a threat to us. They could go middle, get more geared and make the game harder for us, or they could attack us and make our life harder. So we want to get rid of the loose ends, tie up the loose ends. Pink is a loose end. He's a loose cannon that could go anywhere, so we want to get rid of him as fast as we can. The thing that was, it's also based up on predictability. Basically, with aqua and yellow, we know what they're gonna do. They're gonna attack each other. They're not gonna go to mid, get diamonds, get punch bows, and attack us. So for them, we can just leave them away until we need to get them to win. But for pink, obviously they can go anywhere. So we want to get rid of them. That's another primary principle that you need to keep in mind. So yellow got rid of aqua, and now we have two variables. So this is probably a critical position of the game. Pink could just use these. Is very close to collecting all the emeralds and using them against us. So we need to be really quick here. This is the position where we are at our most vulnerable in the game. But now, pink has put himself into a position of lower power, and I'm in a position of power. I could go back. He is stuck right there. He's at our mercy. Yellow's coming this way. In fact, we can take this advantage to use this for a 2v1. Pink is probably going to run that way. He's dumped his emeralds there. Don't think that does anything. We've got rid of him. But now we're getting attacked by yellow. And look, yeah, we got 2v1, but we got rid of pink, who in my opinion is the bigger threat. Yellow probably has the emeralds now, but he is worse geared. And he has been fighting aqua for such a long time that he's way behind in development in this game. Bedwars is like chess. You need to develop things. You need to do things quicker. So Bedwars is time based. Since yellow took so long to eliminate his neighbor, he's way behind in his development. Like, he doesn't have his... In Bedwars, basically, you have a few milestones you need to reach, such as having your armor, having your team eliminated, having armor, prot, trap, and he doesn't have any of that. And in fact, in that situation, we took out his we took his gear back, so he's really in a terrible situation here. If I was him, well, I wouldn't disconnect. Oh, I was about to say disconnect, but then that's bad sportsmanship. That doesn't give me the final kill. So don't disconnect, just play on. It's pretty obvious you're gonna lose, but look, in this situation, if I was him, I would just run away. That's his best chance to do anything. And if you're in my situation, stop him from running away. And that'll just make your game longer and a bit more annoying, and increases his probabilities to clutch the game, which is unlikely. Clutching is always unlikely, however, it's possible. So you want to remove that likelihood. But he disconnected. He didn't give me the final, sadly. But as you can see right there, I won the game. So I really hope this Bedwars tutorial / guide for Game Sense has been helpful. You can't really put it into points or things like that. I've just played 2 games on 2 different maps and talked about them, talked about things you need to focus on, talked about things you need to worry about, talked about things you need to do in Bedwars. I hope this helped. Hopefully you can try and focus this. One thing I like to do, I never did this, but one thing I could see that could be useful is making a bit of an agenda. Like on maps like Airshow, you need to say, tick, I eliminated my first rush, tick, I got diamond, I got prot, sharpness, tick, I got iron armor, and then I'm going out to rush. Obviously read my guide on map specific strategies, then you can apply this Game Sense guide to that. And basically that's all I have to say. I hope this was helpful. If this is helpful, like, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe. I appreciate it. And comment what you thought about this. Comment what was helpful. Comment what you didn't really need. Comment about basically anything mistakes I made, and I'll reply to every single comment. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.